The information is lost. I heard a stunning woman at the adjacent table mumble those things as I was unwinding in a cafe. I had just lost my job the day before for trying to hide an error that one of my coworkers had made. I therefore completely understood the fear and helplessness that accompany making a mistake. I volunteered to assist her as a former engineer, and I promptly recovered her lost data. My life completely changed as a result of the woman and I connecting over our extended conversation about my colleague Joseph. George is my name. I am 46 years old and currently employed with Reynolds Corporation as the assistant manager of the engineering division. It's been 16 years since I began this work at 30 after changing careers. Time goes by so quickly. My 3-year-old colleague Joseph Taylor has also begun to receive mentions for promotion. Since there is no seniority system in place at our organization, advancement through the ranks is based on ability rather than seniority. Joseph is younger than me, yet he's tremendously intelligent and successful in all he does. Our organization is in the food and beverage sector, and throughout the years, we have worked on a wide range of projects. To be honest, I work a lot of overtime, and occasionally I get unexpected calls after work to attend client meetings. It's an extremely demanding work because of all the overtime. Nevertheless, the salary is far higher than what most people my age make, which is why I've continued in this position. Despite spending a significant amount of money on my several interests on my days off, I still manage to save a good amount. I've been putting money down for my wedding day, but maybe I should give up on it now that I'm 46. It's all I've been thinking about lately. Something transpired that made me feel even more hopeless while I struggled with these ideas. My coworker Joseph approached me for guidance not long after I turned 46. "George, could we have a quick chat?" "What's going on? You appear serious." "Well, this time, I truly went wrong. The project in which errors are not permitted." At that point, Joseph started admitting he had made a grave error. "In fact, we've been working on a project at Reynolds Corporation lately that is larger than anything we've ever worked on. In the engineering department, Joseph and I are mostly in charge of implementing the client's requests for system enhancements and revisions. On this large project, Joseph is the main lead, and I have been assigned to help him. Normally, I don't have to become too involved because it's Joseph's responsibility, but based on the look on his face, I may need to intervene more than I had anticipated. I realized there was a mistake after delivering it already. Why don't you inform the client and ask them to return it in such scenario? They most likely won't be overly angry. That's the main issue. By mistake, I ended up sending the system to a different client. I was unable to speak. It was astounding to me that Joseph had made such a simple error. He added that it was sent to a whole other company. The client had apparently been phoning Joseph nonstop and had already seen the new system intended for someone else. Pretending to be too busy, Joseph had been evading the calls, but they were also sending emails requesting an explanation. How am I going to proceed? I'm going to have my 3rd child soon. If this causes me to lose my job, it will be all right. You shouldn't have to worry too much, in my opinion. They'll understand if you really apologize." However, the client is already enraged. Joseph never skips a work check, thus he rarely makes a thoughtless error like this. "See, I'll assist you in saying sorry. For now, let's just keep our cool." "Yes, you are correct. I shall take that action." Before expressing our regret to the client the following day, Joseph and I made the decision to inform our department manager of the circumstances. When we report this, what do you think the manager will say? He will undoubtedly be enraged. The manager unexpectedly approached Joseph and me as we were ready to go apologize first thing in the morning and said something startling. "This time, you really did it." "Pardon me?" "No, George, not you. Will you not offer an apology?" The manager seemed to be taking his ire at me, the assistant, for some reason. I should have known at this point that this was a trap meant to drag me down. I apologize. I've heard you made a mistake when attempting to take credit for Joseph. Are you serious? What is the intended meaning of that? The manager claimed that someone had informed him that I was the one who committed the error, and that, in addition, I had purportedly pilfered Joseph's idea in order to claim credit for it and increase my own prospects of advancement. I could never do something like that. As his assistant, all I can say is that I didn't double-check anything. So you're attempting to blame Joseph for the error? There is miscommunication there. I knew that I was being put up as the antagonist, even though I had no understanding why this was occurring. Manager, who shared that information with you? It arrived this morning in an anonymous email. That is undoubtedly false. Why do you think that? Joseph tried to defend me right away after learning I was being blamed, but the manager said something that made us both froze. It doesn't matter who is at fault. This error cannot be excused. Both of you ought to get ready for the prospect of being fired. Death. Obviously. The cuss Georger has already complained to us. The manager left after saying that. How should I respond to being fired? How can I tell my family about it? Joseph, I couldn't help but remark, you can just say I made the mistake this time, as I saw Joseph's dejected expression and considered his family. How come? However, I'm not dating. It's okay, I have no one to protect. That's accurate. I should be able to handle getting fired because I'm single. However, if Joseph lost his work at this very moment, he would be in big danger. Since we started working for the same company, we have been coworkers, therefore I am aware of his excellent character. I reasoned that it would be preferable for me to accept responsibility and let Joseph to continue working. Many thanks. I have one to give you. I'll always be grateful for what you've done for me. It's all right. In any case, I've been itching to try out other types of work. You're really a nice guy. I went straight to the manager after that and gave him the rundown. I informed him that Joseph had nothing to do with anything, and that I was the one who was at fault. I'm really sorry. So, you were attempting to get out of this by lying? Huh. I'm unable to forgive that. I really apologize. I'm just able to apologize. I can't conceive of a more noble course of action if I'm being fired for standing up for my buddy Joseph. So, I'm okay with nearly certain dismissal. But then I was confronted with a hard reality. You know, you're simply too great of a guy. What's making you laugh? The manager reprimanded me, and as soon as I got back to my station, Joseph approached me with a chuckle before dropping a bombshell. Do you honestly believe I would make such a mistake? I sent the client the incorrect system on purpose. What? By what do you mean? Describe yourself. Remember when we spoke about a promotion? It seemed to be between you and me. I was shocked to learn that Joseph had plotted to undermine me in order to secure his promotion. It was okay if I took the fall for him. But he meant to continue delivering false reports about me to the management in secret if things didn't work out. Why would you act in such a way? You've been my ally forever. And just like that, Joseph, someone I considered to be a personal friend and comrade, betrayed me. The manager wouldn't listen to me when I tried to explain the matter to him. There's no point in coming in Georgiero. I'm fired, he informed me. With a heavy heart, I packed up my belongings and left for home that day. I awoke the following day in the afternoon. There would be no room for me at work, even if I got there. Nobody had called in from the office by now. Rather, the manager sent me an official email terminating my employment. Overwhelmed by an unfathomable sensation, I discovered that I was walking towards a neighboring café. I settled into a table outside and ordered a sandwich and coffee. I sipped the coffee, but I was unable to get myself to finish the sandwich. I had no hunger, and I never anticipated to be betrayed by someone I trusted. What am I going to do now? A woman seated next to me whispered something quietly while I was buried in contemplation. My data is gone. I turned to see an incredibly attractive woman seated there. The woman was glancing at her phone, obviously nervous, trying to figure out what to do. I used to be an engineer, so I think I can help restore it. Are you serious? Would you kindly have a look? Obviously. Fixing this should be simple. And with that, I was assisting the helpless woman. I really appreciate it. I had an appointment with a client soon, so I was really freaking out. No issue. I'm happy I was of assistance. A business meeting? Indeed. Jennifer is my name. My place of employment is Florence Corporation. Jennifer gave me her business card as she was saying that. Jennifer's father happens to be the CEO of the company where she works. Like me, she's 40 years old and unmarried. The daughter of a CEO. It makes sense that you have such refined manners. It is embarrassing. Don't say that, please. What is your name, by the way? My name is George. In actuality, I lost my job yesterday. Jennifer's surprised eyes grew wide. I couldn't help myself, even though I shouldn't have discussed it with a complete stranger. Burned? Why not? To put it simply, I was betrayed by a colleague I was close to. That is terrible. Well, I have to leave now. Next time, please tell me more. Jennifer quickly left the cafe after shutting her laptop. I stayed home all week, spending my days by myself. I knew I ought to be looking for work, but I was too tired. I'd assumed I'd live off my funds for the time being while I took some time to heal both physically and mentally. I was kicking back in bed when I received a call from an unknown number. Are you still here? The woman you met at the cafe is Jennifer. Jennifer, what's going on? Actually, there's something I'd really like to talk to you about. I had given Jennifer my phone when she gave me her business card, but I never thought she would be the one to get in touch. We set up a meeting in the same cafe where we first spoke because she indicated she would rather speak with someone in person than over the phone. Sorry for calling you out of the blue like this. No issue. How may I help you today? Well, if you haven't found a new job yet, would you consider working for us? I was shocked to learn that Jennifer wanted to hire me since her company needed engineers. I'd be hired immediately if I agreed, since her father, the CEO, had already given her the go-ahead. But I've never even met your father. When I told him about how you helped me, he said yes immediately. After giving it some thinking, I ultimately chose to accept Jennifer's offer. It was 2 months later. I continued to be busy, and I had almost forgotten about the episode involving Joseph. But then I got a call from Joseph out of the blue. Hey, a long time has passed. How are you doing? I'm doing quite well. Why are you phoning me? I just wanted to see how you were doing. Have you started a new job yet? Joseph had obviously called out of spite. Sorry to disappoint you, but I found a new job pretty quickly and have already started working. Oh, I see. Where do you currently work? At Florence Corporation. You know it well, right? Joseph remained silent. It made sense that he appeared to be at a loss for words. Joseph had often expressed his desire to work for Florence Corporation. Furthermore, he works for Reynolds Corporation, which is its parent firm. You're saying that Florence Corporation hired you? Give up tinkering around. That is accurate. There's going to be a workplace get-together shortly, right? There, I'm confident we'll cross paths. Be truthful. Are you not just bluffing as well? It seems that he believed me to be lying about my employment with the main corporation. After persistently disputing my statements, Joseph finally hung up on me. The meeting between the parent business and the subsidiary was held 2 weeks later. Joseph approached me with a smug smile as soon as I got there. You know, this place is off limits to outsiders. Oh, I see. Do you work as staff for events? What topic are you discussing? I informed you that Florence Corporation is where I work. Please, quit telling falsehoods. It's awkward. Joseph seemed to believe that I was assuming the role of event staff, when in reality, I was not. I realized that further denying it would not make him reconsider at this point. As I was contemplating that, I noticed Jennifer off in the distance. Is that Jennifer? IRL. She is even more gorgeous. George, you've arrived already. How come? Jennifer is someone I know. It was obvious that Joseph was anxious to see the CEO's daughter speaking to me. At last, he began to understand that I was speaking the truth regarding my employment at Florence Corporation. I told you that Florence Corporation is where I work. Not at all. You truly, who is this person, George? After Jennifer gave us a perplexed look, I introduced Joseph by saying, he's the colleague who framed me and got me fired. You're the one. I see now. What are you discussing? Jennifer, who was fully aware of my termination, gave Joseph a disdainful glance. Joseph began to perspire profusely as he realized the woman he admired was aware of his transgressions. Everything you did, I know exactly what you did. My father has already been informed, and we are currently talking on how to handle it. I'm not sure what you're discussing. You are well aware of what you did to George. You won't get away with it from us. It appears that Reynolds Corporation undertaken an internal inquiry without informing me. They were investigating who put me up and why I was fired so abruptly. We've heard from several witnesses that you were envious of George. Who made that statement? I can't tell you that, but everyone will know what you really did very soon. Jennifer turned and walked away, her hair waving, after saying those words. I was unaware that an inquiry of this kind was underway. It's also unlikely that Joseph ever thought his misconduct would come to light. What should I do in the event that they discover my actions? They refer to this as karma. I believe I'll just observe from a distance as things unfolds. Please, come to my aid. Are we pals? I take it. After dropping Joseph off there, I followed Jennifer throughout the rest of the party. Joseph's eyes were expressionless. The reports of his wrongdoings had already begun to circulate, so even though some people were worried, nobody felt compelled to confront him. It was undoubtedly assumed by everybody that it would be the final time they saw him. And sure enough, Joseph got his notice of termination a few days after the party. It seems that they discovered that someone had overheard my talk with Joseph after questioning every employee. It was one of those quick-witted office gossips who was willing to testify. What was even more intriguing was that she had filmed a portion of our talk. Soon afterward, I learned through rumors what had happened to Joseph. Joseph evidently couldn't bring himself to notify his family that he'd been sacked. He'd dress up every day as though he was going to work, but all he did was kill time in the park until he got home in the evening. However, his wife quickly learned that he had been spotted in the park by a neighbor. Joseph acknowledged being fired when his wife confronted him, but he gave no explanation for the dismissal. She therefore learned the complete tale of how Joseph had set me up and gotten me dismissed when she got in touch with Reynolds Corporation. Of course, she was incensed. It was inexcusable for a man who was going to have his third kid to commit such a heinous act. With those remarks, she stormed out of the house. In addition to receiving divorce papers, Joseph is currently receiving criticism from his family members. His wife has engaged an attorney, so even though he hasn't signed the paperwork yet, it appears like the divorce will soon be finalized. Had he not chosen such a cowardly path, he may have received a promotion and enjoyed a happy life with his family. That's what I found myself thinking as I thought back on my experiences with Joseph. I was elevated to the position of head of the engineering department at Lawrence Corporation after 5 years of employment. It looks like my work was acknowledged. It turns out that Jennifer wasn't partial to me, despite my initial suspicions. My coworkers were the ones who suggested me for the role, stating that I would be a good fit. I'm positive that my sincerity with everyone I've dealt with has contributed to the way things have worked out. Well done. I'm overjoyed for you. Many thanks. All of it is due to you, Jennifer. It's just that your ability was acknowledged. We're having a celebration at a fancy restaurant tonight to honor my promotion to department head. Additionally, We're using this opportunity to discuss our future goals for our life. Actually, 3 years ago, Jennifer and I tied the knot. Since being married, we've both put in a lot of work and helped one another out. We chose to live as a couple since we realized that raising children at our age would be challenging. Despite our continued enjoyment of our jobs, we now find ourselves in a situation where we have more money than we know what to do with. So we agreed to talk about how to use it. I'd really like to take a trip, perhaps even across the globe. That sounds fantastic. When can we take a longer break? Let's go. Really? Are you for real? Yes, indeed. Jennifer smiled broadly at the idea of seeing the world. I never thought I would be fortunate enough to have a woman as amazing as mine. Though I was in terrible sorrow when Joseph betrayed me, that betrayal had the exact opposite effect on my life. Thus, in a way, I suppose I should be grateful to Joseph.